They said Nathan was unlucky, born during a thunderstorm, lost both parents before his 10th birthday, and failed every opportunity that came his way. But sometimes when life seems cruelest, it's not because God has forgotten you. It's because he's preparing you. Nathan lived in a small working-class town in rural Pennsylvania, where the winters were long and the dreams even longer. He was 24, worked night shifts at a gas station, and shared a rundown apartment with his alcoholic uncle. Everyone who knew him had a story about his misfortunes. His parents died in a car crash on the way to his school recital. He dropped out of college after failing his 3rd semester. His girlfriend left him with nothing but a note and unpaid rent. He often stared at the stars during his night shift and whispered, "If there's a plan, I sure don't see it." Nathan wore a silver cross his mother had given him. He didn't consider himself religious, but he couldn't bring himself to take it off. It was scratched, worn, and faded, but it reminded him of her words. Even when life makes no sense, God is still working. Each Sunday, his only peace came from sitting quietly at the back of the church, not for sermons, but for silence. There, under stained glass windows and flickering candlelight, he let the weight off his chest, even if just for an hour. Then came the storm, figuratively and literally. One night, a freak blizzard struck. Nathan was driving home from work. His brakes failed on an icy hill. He crashed into a tree, breaking his leg and collapsing a lung. In the hospital, with tubes in his mouth and machines beeping like digital prayers, Nathan slipped in and out of consciousness. He dreamed of his parents and their voices saying, "Hold on, son. It's not over." He woke up 3 days later to a $38,000 hospital bill and no job. "I'm done," he muttered. "Maybe I was never meant for anything." He even Googled how to disappear quietly, but instead he saw a headline: "Local youth shelter burned down in fire, volunteers needed." With nowhere else to go, and perhaps just to distract himself from his own pain, Nathan signed up to volunteer at a temporary shelter. He figured it would be a day or two. Instead, it changed his life. He met Leo, a 12-year-old with bruises on his arms and eyes older than his age. Leo never smiled, but when Nathan handed him a basketball and said, "You remind me of myself," the boy cracked a grin. Nathan began showing up daily, teaching kids how to write resumes, play chess, even apply for jobs. The director, Ms. Ramirez, noticed and asked, "Have you ever thought of working with you full-time?" He hadn't, but maybe this was something. Months passed. Nathan slowly rebuilt his life. He studied at night, worked during the day, and eventually became a licensed youth counselor. The kids loved him. The staff trusted him. Then one day, he got a letter from a man who killed his parents, the drunk driver who had been released after serving time. "I don't expect forgiveness," the letter said, "but I want you to know I've been following your work. You're helping kids like I once failed to be. Maybe God gave you this pain for a reason." Nathan froze. Every part of him wanted to burn that letter, but instead, he framed it, because somewhere deep down he understood his pain had created a path. Years later, Nathan was invited to speak at a national youth conference. Thousands of teens filled the auditorium. He stood on stage, hands trembling, holding the same silver cross his mother had given him. "I don't have a story filled with success," he began, "but I do have a story filled with survival, and maybe that's more important." He paused. "Everything I lost, my parents, my education, my direction, led me here. And if you're sitting there wondering why your life feels broken, let me tell you, God has a plan, but it doesn't look like a map. It looks like a puzzle, and the pieces only make sense looking back." The crowd stood. Some cheered. Others cried. Leo, now a college student, was in the front row, smiling. Sometimes, what feels like punishment is really preparation. God doesn't waste pain. He shapes it. He doesn't forget you. He forges you. And even when you feel buried, you might just be planted. Nathan thought he was cursed, but now he knows he was being called. And so are you. Maybe you're going through something right now that makes no sense. You're tired, you're lost, and you're wondering if this is it. But please remember, you're not forgotten. You're being shaped. Because God always has a plan, especially when you can't see it yet.